Okay, so today we're going to go over introductions. I'm going to introduce myself and Dr. Myers will introduce herself. We're going to do a snapshot of the two programs. We're going to go over the program details, tuition, funding information, where you might end up after you complete your doctoral degree, and then you'll have the opportunity to ask questions. Okay, Dr. Myers, would you like to go ahead?
Hi, so everyone, welcome to our session. I am a recent graduate of the research intensive program, the PhD program at the Faculty of Education. I graduated in 2019. So I understand some of the wonderful anticipation you have as you consider this choice for yourselves. I'm the manager, the program manager of the EdD program at the Faculty of Education. And I've been here for about a year and a half. And most of that time has been spent during the COVID situation. So all of those challenges that have come up because of it, I think have helped me really engage with this program. I'm looking forward to working with you and helping you to what am I trying to say here? Sorry, I'm drawing a blank. Helping you to learn more about it and help you make decisions on whether these programs are best for you. I am living in London myself, and also I am I have two dogs who are my constant companions because of COVID. That's enough, I think, Allie.
Great. Thank you, Dr. Myers. So I'm Allison Watson. I have been at Western as a staff member since 2013. I started in January. Before that, I did my Master of Library and Information Science here at Western. So overall, I've been at Western since about 2012 or 2011. 2011 is when I did that program. I have worked specifically in the Faculty of Education. I have always wanted to be a teacher. It didn't pan out for me, but I'm teaching in other ways, so it's perfect for me. I have a little kitty at home. I call her a kitty, but I will admit she is 16 years old. I am trying to make her Instagram famous. It's not going that well. I keep telling her that she costs me money and she needs to bring money back to me somehow. It's not really working. So that's all from me. So let's get into the more of the program details. So here's a program snapshot between the EdD and the PhD. This just gives a breakdown of the basic questions that we are asked. So the duration of the EdD is 3 years. The PhD is 4 years. They both have September start dates. We only admit students for September. The EdD is an online program, but the PhD is a specifically on-site program. The next one is applied research use for the EdD. Yes. So it's applied research, whereas the PhD is actually a research intensive program. So the difference for that is the EdD focuses on more applied research. So focused on, the words are escaping me right now, but focused on the practical side of things, okay, and secondary data, searching for a problem within an organization and finding a solution to potentially fix that. The research intensive program is that in itself. It is research intensive. So you are actually going out into the field, collecting data, connecting with research participants, analyzing that data, and solving the research question that you had come up with your supervisor. So with the EdD, it is professionally focused, but the PhD is not. A difference between the two programs is the EdD has a dissertation in practice, but with the PhD, our students complete a thesis. Okay, and then mainly is there a lot of questions that we receive are about the opportunities for full-time employment. With the EdD, yes, you are able to work. during the degree, but with the PhD, there's not a lot of opportunity to maintain full-time employment. You are expected to work on your degree. That's your main focus. That's essentially your job because you do receive a funding package, which I will go through later on. Okay, so Dr. Myers, I'm going to turn it over to you for the EdD program details.
Great, thank you, Ellie. So this is a fully online program. You are not required to come to campus at all as a student in this program. So we have students from all over the world and of course all over Canada, different time zones, which does create a challenge when instructors are looking to host synchronous sessions. And students, when they graduate, often want to come for convocation when it's not COVID. Most students complete in 3 years, which is wonderful because students are anxious to get the degree and continue on with their professional professional lives. However, that also makes the program very intense, and it's an intense program in that there's a lot of work to do in a very short period of time, whereas PhD students tend to have more flexibility depending on their work. It's a cohort-based model, which means you move through the program with a core group of students. So for example, if you're a K-12 person, you'd be with a group of other K-12 people and you'd move through each course. And there are courses specifically designed for each cohort. And we have folks who are K-12, higher educational leadership, and also community leadership, such as nursing, the police, nonprofits. That cohort tends to be a wider range. Almost all of our students are full-time throughout the program. Some may have changes in their work lives, but we recognize that students are working for it full-time. At the same time, students will be expected to work 15 to 20 hours per week, every week for 3 years on their studies. Year one, we have 4 courses, 1 half course in the fall and then again in the winter. And you'll notice the summer courses, there are 2 in a very compressed time period. And that's done on purpose so that students can complete in the 3 years. Students will often say to us, wait a minute, I'm a school principal. June is very busy for me, or August is very busy for me. And we understand that, but at the same time, that's one of the trade-offs of having a 3-year program, that there's a lot of work to do and students are having to juggle their commitments to family and work, as well as their academics. In year 2, you have 3 courses, a half course again in the fall and winter terms over 12 weeks, and then a full course in the summer term. And again, you can see that it's a 16-week course, whereas the other 2 courses combined are 24 weeks. So summers are very intense for EdD students for all 3 years. And the final year, you have 1 full course in the fall and 1 full course in the winter. And that's where students are writing their final document, their dissertation in practice. So it's a very intense writing year. And then the final summer term, which goes from May to August, students are completing their examination. And so there's many activities that are involved with that. You'll get revision time. You'll have a presentation as well. And during all terms, you'll have continuous enrollment. So you don't pay per course, you pay per term in the EdD.
Great, thank you, Dr. Myers. So I'm going to discuss the PhD program. So this program is an on-site research-intensive degree. Students typically take 4 years to complete the degree. There's coursework required as well as certain milestones. And our students, our PhD students are funded for a total of 4 years. I'm going to get into those details in a future slide. There's limited opportunity to work outside of work outside of student contracts during the program. So it's going to be in a future slide, but part of the funding package for the PhD students is that they complete a contract a different contract each year. Okay. So then the actual timing and delivery. So in year one, for the fall term, typically students do complete 3 half courses. They are 12 weeks in length. And then another 3 half courses in your winter term, again, 12 weeks. And then in the summer term, those students who are in CPELs or applied psychology. So we're the Faculty of Education. I'm going to be honest, we short form everything. So CPELs stands for Critical Policy, Equity, and Leadership Studies. And then the ARC is the Academic Research Cluster. So we have separated all of our faculty members based on their research. So there's 3 areas. There's the critical policy, equity, and leadership studies, applied psychology, and then the last one is curriculum studies and studies in applied linguistics. Okay, so students who are in the CPELs and applied psychology area, they complete a qualifying exam, but the students who are in CSOL, they complete a comprehensive exam in their summer term. So in year two, students in the fall, students complete their thesis proposal, and then the remaining part of your degree is you are writing your thesis. You will have connection with your supervisor, direct connection with your supervisor. You'll have meetings with them to go over your research questions and how your research is going to look. And you're going to collect your data in that time as well. So the final term in year 4, so the summer term in year 4, is when students are expected to complete their thesis defense. Okay, there's a big process for that. I'm not going to get into that. I'll discuss that in a future webinar. And we're going to test you already. So I've got a pop quiz set up here. Okay, so here's your pop quiz. Which degree is on site? Is it the Doctor of Education, the EdD, or the Doctor of Philosophy? Everybody's doing so great. Great. Okay, so I'm going to move on to the second question. Who likes cats more? Is it Allison Watson or Philippa Myers? We both like cats, but I think I like them more. Thanks, everybody. So we're going to go over the general program costs next. There are differences between the programs. I do want to say that tuition amounts are set by Senate each year and then published on the Office of the Registrar's Fees Schedules page. Okay, fees are assessed once per term, so they're charged to your student account once per term. We can't provide an exact tuition amount for the entire length of your degree because tuition does go up by up to 8% each academic year. So the EdD program cost, so you're looking at 3 terms per year. There's fall, winter, and summer, and that's for 3 years. So the program runs September to August of each year. And I've given an amount for a Canadian citizen or permanent resident for the 2020-2021 academic year. And you're looking at about $3,500 per term for the EdD. Okay. There's a link there as well for more information about the fees. So for the PhD, PhD students do receive a funding package that includes the annual cost of tuition plus an additional $13,000, okay, per year. So that's for a total of 4 years. So every term Western will pay your tuition for those 4 years. And then each year you get that $13,000 funding package. Okay. And with that $13,000 funding package, there is a role that you will complete, a working role. And it's approximately 10 hours a week for that role that you'll be working towards. Okay, after the 4 years of funded tuition and that $13,000 funding package, students are then responsible to pay for their own tuition. Okay. So for EdD funding, the EdD program is fully online. We offer students flexible learning because you're working towards your degree virtually. So we find that many students are able to still work during their degree. So unfortunately, we don't have specific funding for EdD students. But some employers do provide subsidization, or they will offset the cost, help you offset the cost of your degree. And then there's some alternative sources of funding outlined here. So some of our students have gone to private financial institutions. I actually did one of the master's programs through our faculty, and that's what I did. I went to my financial institution. Provincial governments sometimes have grants for working professionals. And then a really good resource is the Government of Canada's Can Learn website. It has contact information and a lot of information about the student financial assistance programs. So like I had said, for the PhD funding, the students receive the funding package of the $13,000 per year, plus the annual cost of tuition. And a portion of the funding package involves an assistantship role, which is approximately 10 hours of work per week from September to April. And that's typically within the Faculty of Education, whether it be working for your supervisor or the teacher education program. So alternative sources of funding for the PhD, we have a couple scholarships. They're newer scholarships for students living with disabilities, as well as a scholarship for incoming Indigenous students. Students can apply for OGS, which is the Ontario Graduate Scholarship, as well as the Canadian Graduate Scholarship for Doctoral Students, or CGSD. Okay, so I had that in two places, sorry. Further details about funding opportunities are available through this link. And again, I'm going to be sending out this slideshow. We got another quiz. And this is the last quiz, okay? So which is the research intensive degree? Doctor of Education or Doctor of Philosophy? Great. And then the second question, who has been working at Western longer? Philippa Myers or Allison Watson? And this was actually a trick question because both Dr. Myers and I started in 2013. Dr. Myers started her PhD the year that I started working at the Faculty of Education. So it was a trick question.
Allison was my GAA, which is a Graduate Affairs Assistant. And as a student, you'll have a lot of communication with the GAAs. They do a lot of supports and work with students.
And they know a lot. They
Yes.
know a lot of information. Yeah, and I always tell students, and not that this is normally what I plug in at orientation, but your first point of contact, your GAA for sure. If they don't know the answer, they will direct you where to go. So I know this is a question on everybody's mind. Where can I end up? What are the actual differences between the degrees? What can you do with the degree at the end of it? Dr. Myers, can I turn this over to you? I think you'll be the best person.
Sure, thank you.
Thanks.
So since my own degree is a PhD, I was not sure of where EdD students would, where the degree might take them. And it's really fascinating and exciting for me to see how students use that degree for professional and personal advancement. We learn of students who take on a new role in part because of even in the middle of their degrees, to take on a new role. They, regardless of whether they're in K-12 education, higher education, or in the community leadership fields. Oftentimes students will notify us afterwards that they've been able to progress in their professions because of their degree, which has caused a lot of help, because there's so much personal and professional growth that goes on over these 3 years because of the work that you do in this degree. Students think about their work differently. They think about the theory and what others have learned about that type of work. So it is very exciting. We see folks who use this degree to be in their role as superintendents or principals and vice principals in the K-12 field. We see leaders in higher education either advance or deepen their work in post-secondary education, such as colleges and universities across the country and internationally. Typically, we don't have students who are teachers. Typically, students will have leadership experience in some form or another, whether it's through their volunteer work or through their professional work. In the community, again, people look for advancement or just to enhance their own knowledge about their fields. And if I may, Allison, I'm going to talk about the comparison with the PhD and the EdD.
Yes,
so
please.
Okay, so the EdD, students are looking to expand their knowledge and apply their knowledge in their fields, their professional fields, whereas PhD students are looking in a more academic side. They're looking to develop knowledge to advance the field of study. And so they may be looking for academic related careers. So for example, if you're interested in becoming a professor at a university, you would want to have a PhD. If you're looking to advance your professional growth in higher education where you are in an administrative or a leadership position, then you would maybe look towards an EdD instead. If you're in K-12, I would guess EdD might be more towards where you would lean, unless you're looking at the research side of it and advancing your role as a researcher for the school board.